这周是我们常规赛最后一周了吧？我觉得这整个赛季的表现可能没有去年或者前年那么好吧。
打 LG 之后，我们队伍状态不是很好嘛，所以我们要尽力去调整状态，去准备季后赛嘛。
就上次跟 RW 交手的时候，队伍还在磨合吧，就是大家状态也不是特别的好。然后现在我们的磨合度更高了，这一次交手的话，我们是能够赢下的胜利。
小火闪现过来，叶子的被动，死了这边风女，还能不能继续的追进？切换掉是个 Q， 这把小虎子优秀。
我们和 RNG 都擅长打4保1战术，至于谁打的最好，比赛的时候见分晓吧。
虽然我们跟 RW 都有保 AD、EC 的阵容嘛，但是我觉得我们的 AD 是 UZ， 所以不虚他们。
首先是 UZ 回来了嘛，所以这个是我们值得注意的一个点嘛。然后他们上野都有轮换嘛，所以就我们要多考虑他们的轮换体系吧。
马上就要季后赛了嘛，我也希望我们队伍可以以最好的状态去迎接季后赛。
首先，我希望我的队友不要因为上一场的失利去自责什么之类的，因为我们是一个团队嘛，就尽量在后面的比赛里面放开打。
It is day 1, week 10 of the LPL, and you heard it right there from RNG. This is the final week of group play before we move into playoffs. Victus Gaming have not only locked in their spot at Rift Rivals, but has also secured #1 seed for their conference, and Rogue Warriors have secured #2 seed. The final 2 spots are still up for grabs in that group, but it's decided the Western Conference, everything is up for grabs. Yes, Snake and EDG have locked in their chance to go to playoffs. They have not locked in their positions, and 3 more teams are still fighting to see where they can place and if they can make it into playoffs. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Snipe Matthew Stewart. Joining me on the analyst desk is Indiana, Frostco, and Black. And let's go straight and take a look at the standings at the LPL so far, because as we said, this is the final week of group stages before we move into playoffs.
You said it yourself, Fish, and you can already see indicated on this graphic right now who have locked in playoffs and who have locked in their seed. Now, Rogue Warriors and Invictus Gaming cannot move. They have locked 1st and 2nd respectively. That said, everything is wide open in the Western Conference. You can have massive shifts, and WE, FPX, Suning, and JD fighting for that last ticket to playoffs.
Exactly, but we'll deep dive into those 2 conferences later on during the broadcast. For now though, today's matches first up are going to be Team WE taking on Vici, followed by our match of the week, Royal Never Gives Up against Rogue Warriors.
And Team WE and Vici, it should be the week of Team WE. They have 3 series instead of 2 that every other team do to have to secure their spot or possibly move up in the standings.
But as today is day 1 of a new week, let's first take a look back at last week. We have the best 5 players that performed for Best of the Rift. It's going to be in the top lane, Amazing J with Pepper in the jungle, Rookie in the mid lane, Loken, as well as Road, the AD carry and support.
And I know that Rookie is putting out huge stats, so just take them in first, second. But I want everyone's eyes to hone in on Loken. This guy is the newest addition to our Best of the Rift, and he showed up huge. 2017 LPL viewers will remember Loken crying on stage after he personally failed to help carry his team into a playoff contention. Yesterday, it was Agency, Now or Never, the e-commerce wars. 3 compositions built all around Loken. He showed up on the Jinx. From bench to possible playoffs, it's his redemption.
And JDG were able to pick up a 2-1 victory over Suning, which was crucial because now they can still possibly make playoffs. If they lost that match, they would have been eliminated and the conference would have been locked in. We also have Amazing J as well as Road stepping up to be Best of the Rift for BLG. They had fantastic performances last week.
Yeah, BLG looking to go for another miracle run that we saw of 2016 IMA, and it is led by Amazing J and Road. BLG are certainly on the ramp up, but not appearing on that graphic are their sisters in Mole and Chieftain.
Something about BLG and making late runs into playoffs.
It's your fault.
Let's first take a look at the Western Conference, where BLG are currently located, because everything is still up for grabs here. Yes, EDG as well as Snake can have locked in their playoff spots, but they haven't locked in 1st or 2nd yet.
We're the largest league, Fish. We've got 14 teams, we have 4 arenas, we have 2 conferences. I did all of the math when it came to playoffs and made the predictions, and this is what it comes out to. So on the left side of your screen, you see what the current standings are. On the right side of the screen, those are my predictions about how it will end and lock for the playoffs. And as you can see, nothing's going to change. This is what logic dictates, that it's going to be EDG, Snake, Bilibili, and Team WE, but it comes down to some core rules.
It certainly does. Remember, FunPlus Phoenix still have a chance to make it in there, and the rosters can still be swapped up. Snake can still finish first, EDG can still finish second, but what are those rules that we're looking at for your predictions to go as you have predicted?
The most important one, and actually the least likely, are that EDG must win both of their series, and they technically have the toughest schedule of all 4 teams that are vying for playoffs right now. They face both FPX as well as Bilibili Gaming, but their X Factor, they've kind of teased it, Clear Love 7.
Potentially we could get Clear Love coming back, but we still don't know if that's going to be a possibility. Vici and OMG have to continue their losing streaks as well. They cannot fight for a playoff spot.
Yeah, and every single team except for EDG, so Snake, Bilibili, and Team W will either face both or one of the bottom teams in Vici and OMG. Logic dictates that those teams will continue to lose, but if someone gets blue shelled by them, everything can go up in the air. And then the final thing is that Team WE must win at least 2 of their series, but they probably won't move up to 3rd, because even if they won all 3 of their series, they'd have to 2-0, and Bilibili Gaming would have to lose to take the 3rd place spot.
Just a reminder for everyone back at home, the LPL first works on points, followed by your win-loss record. Head-to-head against other teams is the final deciding factor determining where you will place before playoffs. Now let's take a look at the matches that we have to watch for the Western Conference throughout Week 10. First up is going to be EDG against FunPlus Phoenix, followed by Snake Esports against Team WE, and finally EDG against BLG, the final game that we have in Week 10.
And again, if EDG and FPX, if that goes awry, if FPX do find the pickup victory, then everything will hinge on EDG versus Bilibili, which, like you said, is our very last game of the LPL in Week 10. Everything can move. I don't expect it to. Again, logic dictates that the teams who have been losing will continue to lose, the teams that have been winning will continue to win, and nothing should change in the standings. But the most drastic move is that Bilibili Gaming could make a surge for 2nd or possibly even 1st.
Yeah, and they have been playing well recently. It's something about BLG and IMA making those late runs during playoffs. Unfortunately, we're not going to be broadcasting the matches on Tuesday on the English broadcast, but our Chinese commentators have you covered. You can go over to panda.tv/LPL or douyu.com/LPL to catch all the action there. Now let's dive straight into the Eastern Conference, because this is where we already have number 1 and number 2 locked in. Rogue Warriors have secured 2nd place. IG, they've secured 1st place and their spot at Rift Rivals.
Yeah, so the Eastern Conference is a bit easier to swallow just because it does seem like it is kind of done and dusted. And surprise, surprise, Week 10 standings, these are the current ones on the left side screen. On the right side of your screen are what my predicted standings are, and nothing changes again. Logic dictates that this should be our 4 teams that go in, and the reason being is that the miracle run that would have to happen for JD to overtake Suning and the miracle failure that would have to happen for RNG to fall out of playing contention are huge.
They certainly are. So first, IG and Rogue Warriors can't change. The only 3 positions that can change in this standings are going to be RNG, Suning, and JD. The e-commerce wars just happened. JD picked up a victory, which has now tied them with Suning. Suning, however, have a better match win-loss record.
Yeah, and basically what that means is that JD Gaming can only take the spot from Suning if they win the series, and their final matches are Suning will face Invictus Gaming and JD will face Rogue Warriors. Now, of course, the X factor there is that it's much more likely that JD would beat Rogue Warriors than Suning would beat IG, but Suning would also have to lose, and they would have to win to take the spot.
So the only way for JD to win is if they win and Suning lose. Any other outcome means that Suning will clinch that 4th spot. That doesn't mean that Royal Never Gives Up is safe yet, because they still have 2 more games to play. If they lose both those matches, either one of these 2 teams can overthrow them and potentially knock them out of playoffs as well.
And it starts with our match of the week, RNG versus Rogue Warriors tonight, and then the last team that RNG will face is, of course, TOP. Now, the thing is that if RNG over-prepare for Rogue Warriors, because, let's be honest, that should be the much harder match, then they could possibly overlook TOP. If they get tripped up, and if Suning and JD both find the upsets, RNG are not locked for playoffs. They could still fall out.
They still could, but they have the strength of schedule on their side. That's going to be the first match, the match of the week later on today, followed by on Tuesday, the first e-commerce battle is going to be up against Invictus Gaming and Suning, followed by Rogue Warriors taking on Jindong on Saturday. Again, we will not be broadcasting the match on Tuesday, but fortunately, the Chinese broadcast does have you covered. Panda.tv/LPL or douyu.com/LPL to watch those matches that we will not be broadcasting on Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah, and surprise, surprise, our 3 matches are focusing on our match of the week, and then, like you said, both JD and Suning's fates that hang in the balance. That said, I think Suning's going to take it. They've got the strength of schedule, but who knows? Rogue Warriors today is going to give us a really good gut check about if JD can make make that miracle grab.
So if everything goes exactly as you predicted for Oscar and everything stays exactly the same it is right now, we can actually take a sneak peek of what you think the playoff bracket is going to look like. Because if everything stays exactly where it is, this is what playoffs would look like in the LPL.
And the important thing is that those 1-0s that you see over in the third place over under round 1, that's not a typo. That's actually how our playoff gauntlet works. It's a weighted playoff gauntlet. So every position on the ladder matters because it's the difference between playing a best of 3 in a round of 1 or a best of 5.
Exactly. So not only do they get to have that extra win during their first match, but they also have to play against arguably the weaker team in the cross-conference, be the 4th place team.
And then if you reach the semifinals, you are a Rift Rivals representative. So far, if playoffs lock today, EDG and Invictus Gaming would be our Rift Rivals reps, but that means that Team WE, Royal Never Give Up, and Snake Esports, 2 of those teams are going to be denied an international appearance.
Remember, it's all speculative. Only IG have locked in their spots as well as Rogue Warriors in the quarterfinals, but that's pretty scary. Because this is Team W and RNG, the semi-finalist representatives from last year that could potentially miss a ticket to Rift Rivals.
We always talk about the group of death when Worlds rolls around. There is very obviously a bracket side of death when you look at the playoff bracket right now. It is absurd to see so many heavy hitters. And then hilariously, if you look at the top side of the bracket, Billy Gaming, Suning, they're looking at EDG. They've had jungle struggles all roster. They're looking at Rogue Warriors. They've started to fall apart right before the finish line. Suning and Billy could actually make a run towards the finals.
Potentially, you could try and take them down, especially with Rogue Warriors dropping those games earlier in the week and potentially could drop a match against Jindong if they continue to have the same form they had against Suning last week. On top of that, the biggest question is always going to be teams come and go, you know, rosters change all the time. Only one thing has been constant this split, which is IG have been dominant. After dropping the opening match in the LPL, they have not lost a single series since, and they're trying to finish their season undefeated. So the real question is who can take down IG if they go to the finals or go to the semi-finals against them?
And this is probably my most controversial opinion. I was trying to think about the contenders, like who actually can step up to IG. We thought it was going to be Rogue Warriors. The last time we saw those 2 teams clash, Invictus Gaming just cleaned Rogue Warriors' clock. It didn't even look hard. And so the first team that I'm going to pull up, a familiar face, ones that also got their clocks cleaned by Invictus Gaming, but I think that come push to shove playoffs, they can make it happen, and it's Royal Never Give Up. Now, we just saw the interview where they were talking about how they weren't in the right form, that the mentality's not there, and yes, RNG have a lot of problems going for them right now. Their drafts have been all over the board. They're not prioritizing Uzi and Ming high enough for how strong that bottom line is, and they seem a bit confused when it comes to mid-game shot calling, but this is the only roster that pound for talent can actually stand up to Invictus Gaming. Every other roster in the LPL will straight just lose in the lane phase before you even get a shot at mid-game.
Because RNG have not been a clear-cut 2nd or even 3rd in their conference.
They could still fall out of playoffs.
They could still fall out of playoffs, and on top of that, with Rogue Warriors' recent form not looking too good, they could start to try and solidify themselves in 2nd place. But what is going to be that X factor that allows them to take down IG? Because we know they have pound for pound talent. Are we looking at an individual player, or are they just going to be outright better than IG?
You're looking at the miracle factor of that team. Again, the combined expertise and veteranship on that roster between Karsa, Xiaohu, Zatai, and Uzi, one of those players will simply just win you a game because of that miracle X factor. So that's what you're gambling on. You're gambling on that push comes to shove in playoffs, RNG will prove that they are a world-class team, and form is temporary, but class is forever, and I expect it to come back.
But first, RNG have to lock in their spot in playoffs, which they have not done just yet. They have strength of schedule. We'll keep track of that after their match of the week later on. There's another team that I believe you think can take down Invictus Gaming. This is one that has already locked in their spots for playoffs at least.
Yeah, and they've locked into the semi-final spot, and it's Edward Gaming. So most people would actually expect me to say Rogue Warriors here, but I think RNG, or excuse me, Rogue Warriors are really struggling recently. Bad read on the meta, they're not protecting or being able to keep up with the dive. And yes, Fish, you have a confused look on your face.
Yeah, who's that guy right there?
That would be ClearLove7. It's been hinted, if you haven't seen on social media, EDG has started to tease out that ClearLove7 is back, that he's practicing with the team. We have no confirmation that he is going to be starting on their roster, but this has been a pretty staple move of EDG in the past. ClearLove7 disappears, he comes back, and it doesn't even matter how long he's been gone because he immediately fits into the team, immediately fits in with Mako, and goes the distance.
Why does he immediately fit in with the team? Because we see it all the time. He does disappear like Uzi does normally during Chinese New Year, then comes back in the team, and suddenly EDG look a lot better before moving into the international games. Why is he so important to come back during the semifinals?
I really equate ClearLove similar to a player like Hai that has that reputation of those intangible X factors. Something about the leadership, the shot calling, the morale, whatever you want to label or call it. ClearLove doesn't just bring his individual mechanics and performance, he brings something else to the team. And and that's what usually pushes EDG over the edge. And if they ever do get to the finals, which right now they're placed to start in semifinals, so 2 best-of-5s away from an MSI appearance, they typically win.
Again, nothing has been locked in just yet besides 2 of the Eastern Conference placing. Everything's up in the air, but this is what we predict to happen so far. So let's dive straight away into the match that we have coming up today. The first match, Team WE taking on Vici.
Yeah, and this is an interesting one. So Team WE, they have 3 series to prepare for this week, whereas every other team gets 2 series, which means they have more opportunities to secure their playoff spot and to try to move higher in the bracket. I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to lock in 4th, but that means that they can't sleep on someone like Vici. The other 2 teams that they face are Snake as well as OMG.
Because both these 2 teams have had a struggle so far in this split. Although Team WE close to the playoffs and Vici have had a much difficult split for themselves, it's still all or nothing for Team WE at the moment if they want to lock a higher spot.
And it's reinventing who Team WE are. So many times we see, where is Condi, where has been? Guess what? They're nowhere to be found. They haven't been found. This is your new starting roster for Team WE. It is Magic and Celestial, and it's not Mystic who's carrying the team. It's CA, who is just showing up huge, and now he gets to go toe-to-toe with EasyHoon.
It's going to be interesting to see if Team WE can change things around, but first it's going to be Vici's side of the map. Long, Swift, EasyHoon, Snow, as well as Caveman. That's their starting 5 today.
And on the other side, Vici, they have no shot at playoffs. This is simply preparing for 2018. But on Team WE side, 957, Magic, CA, Mystic, and Celestial.
I know we can talk a lot about Team WE, especially about how they've been trying to, group together after the disappearance of Condi as well as Ben. But for Vici, we already said they can't make playoffs. What exactly are they trying to do here before they move into the summer split?
Well, most of their rotations have been between their ADC, so I think it's just about nailing down a correct roster, surviving bot lane. We're such a bot lane focused meta in the LPL, and I think Snow's the right fit over Martin, but then it's also empowering Swift and how he tunnels into that.
So if Vici do have a chance to pick up a win here over Team WE, who is the player that we are going to be looking towards to try and make that first step for them? Always going to be Swift?
Yes.
So we'll have to see if Swift can actually do it for Vici. They're going up against the heavy hitters of Team WE. Let's send it over to our casters to get into game number 1.
Thank you so much, Fish and Frost. My name's Dom. This is Rusty, and we're about to get into WE Vici, and I am actually pretty excited for this. It doesn't have a lot of standings implications because, again, Vici, they have been eliminated. WE, they're still chasing down their playoff spot, and as we've heard, there is some leeway for them to catch it, but it's week 10. If WE are going to show up, now is the time for them to kick themselves and get into gear.
Yeah, absolutely. Get into gear is the key phrase here for Team WE. They need to show up. They need to get it done right now against Vici, get those wins on the board, have a 3-0 week for themselves. Vici on the other side just need to try and continue to get themselves into form.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll get to see them recover somewhat towards that form, as Swift and Snow are going to be on the roster, the 2 newest additions to this team. EasyHoon, of course, returning over Fire Rain. But already picks and bans on your screen. You can see Jarvan, Olaf, and Gangplank banned away from WE, 957 and Magic being the target of that. Meanwhile, Xayah, Swain, Azir with a Caitlyn first pick for Vici.
I like this a lot from WE with their bans, respecting the Xayah, banning the Swain away, things that we haven't been seeing a whole host of this week, and already locking in the Caitlyn for Vici on the opposite side with the Xayah removed. With the Xayah Rakan combo now gone as a result of that, they go for the Caitlyn. They threaten what is usually not just the answer, but a very strong duo lane combo with the Caitlyn Morgana.
And that's something that we also have to point out with that Xayah ban for Mystic. He was arguably the best Xayah in the world just a few months ago, and now he is banning it away on his own side because something just isn't quite working with his team. Already the Tom Kench support perhaps to look towards a hyper carry and keep Mystic safe in this game. Magic will find his way onto Sejuani. Swift takes the likes of Zac and Morgana for Caveman.
There you go. So a strong pushing bottom lane from Vici, something that is very hard to kill. Often you will see champions like the Karma in the middle lane to work with that champion, have the combo as a finished team composition, protect the AD carry Siege, a la WE at Worlds in 2017, but they've changed things up for themselves this time around, as you mentioned, the Tom Kench there, Sejuani for Magic, and now a Jhin for Mystic.
We'll see how that works out in this game as we get into the next round of bans, because we have flown through these early draft phase. I'm having difficulty writing everything down just as fast as they're banning and picking away these champions. Still, we talked about the importance of Ryze before the game, at least you and I did off stage.
Yes.
And it is very important. The natural answer to that, though, is Cassiopeia for EasyHoon.
Certainly is, as is the Orianna for the most part. So we'll have to see if that's going to get banned away as well. Xie, if he wants to get rid of 2 mid laners. I don't know how much Orianna EasyHoon plays, to be fair. Azir's already banned from him. Swain's already banned from him. Cassiopeia is also gone. You would expect that the fourth rotation here from Team WE is going to be the Rise, unless they choose to ban it away and pick something for themselves. As a matter of priority, of course, Karma is the other one that comes to mind here, now that we've got the Caitlyn Morgana comp on the other side, and there you go.
Yeah, that's the Karma banned away from EasyHoon, so no major hyper carry AD composition available for Vici, though Lulu is still a priority, and I'm not saying mid Morgana, I'm just saying I've seen solo queue.
Yeah, thankfully this isn't solo queue. Yeah. I have a feeling that that's not what we're going to see here, not from EasyHoon at the very least. Galio is still another option that does a similar thing. You know, the Orianna is also there, like we mentioned. He could pick that one, still have the shielding for the Caitlyn, still be able to provide some damage for himself. And a lot of this is contextual as to what does Lung want to play. Is he going to be a carry, or is he going to be a Gnar that can, you know, do the hybrid work? Or if it's a pure tank, then he needs to do damage from the mid lane.
It's a very important question. What is the priority in that top lane? 957 looking to pick away that Gnar. I believe currently that is his most played champion in the top lane so far in 2018. 13 games so far. Gangplank just behind that at 10. So let's see what Lung's answer is going to be.
Into the Gnar. There's a bunch of carries you could play. There's also tanks that you could play. And of course, with WE not going towards that Rise priority, going towards the Gnar after banning away mid laners, Shea, obsessed with getting the counter pick in this draft, it seems, they do just willingly give the option over.
Yeah, and this Rise unlocks EasyHoon. Very strong wave presence, able to clear out those minion waves very quickly. Realm Warp allows you to jump around the map and catch up with Swift, who we expect to be aggressive.
Yeah, and I'd pick Ornn with it, honestly. Have a tank, round out the team composition. They could look towards something that does a bit of damage if they'd like, and they will opt towards that. In my opinion, having that extra frontliner and long-range engage would have been wonderful for them. This time around, though, they're going to rely on the bindings, the Caitlyn traps, the not hard committal type of combo unless Zac chooses to go forwards. Instead, they're going to play team fighting damage and threaten constantly with all in.
Interestingly enough, this is the first time we're seeing Long play Vladimir in 2018. So perhaps he's showing that he's been practicing the champion a bit, as of course Vici have been eliminated from playoffs. This is practice. This is for the summer split, making sure that this roster is ready to move into the next split of the LPL. That said, you mentioned the Galio earlier. Shea just going to lock that in for himself.
And at the same time, you have to remember it's not always going to be a Vladimir in the top lane. It may well be the Rise, something that has often been flexed. Right now, they are hovering that, and I actually would not be surprised to see that. The reason that you'd be better suited to the Rise top lane is the matchup. You have a cleanse in mid lane for EasyHoon, you can have a heal, he's never going to die to a Galio, and top lane Rise does very well into Gnar. So as the matchup dictates, it's actually a pretty good decision from Vici. I like the flexibility with their last pick, and I like that they've actually chopped and changed the positions of those players.
That is still the first time we're seeing Lung play Rise in the top lane.
Yes.
Still not a huge mage player up on that top half of the map, but this is quite an exciting composition. EasyHoon on Vladimir. This is a champion that we really saw him start to grow with earlier, but now this could be a chance for him to carry from that mid lane. Because again, despite the fact that Vici have been eliminated, the fans for the organization are just as loud and vocal as ever, and WE's WE. They're the oldest organization in LPL history, and they've been around forever.
They've still got a bunch of fans here as well. There's a lot on the line for Team WE, trying to secure their place in playoffs. Started off on the right foot, 3 sets this week. Vici is a hurdle, even if it's a small hurdle. I have a feeling that Vici will still have that fire in their hearts. They'll still come in and give 100%. And they'll try and take it to Team WE. It's not just that WE are an old organization, so this matchup is also an old matchup.
It certainly is. WE, with this game win, we could actually see a few records being broken from this team. Of course, we'll get to that when and if WE are actually able to close out the win, as Vici are going to try and contend with that, taking that very strong Caitlyn Morgana, of course, the Rise and Vladimir for damage out the wazoo, but this is for pride for Vici. The fans are cheering in the arena, and WE is ready to answer. And answer they do.
Yeah, just a little bit louder there is the WE fans in the Shanghai Battle Arena today. Ready to watch their team succeed as we are onto the Rift Dom. And we've already spoken a little bit about Vici's composition. To round it out and to give it a bit more sense for you all, it's Siege, it's Pick, it's the threat of a team fight. Vladimir in the middle lane isn't going to be able to roam as well as a Rise, so perhaps not as much early movements to be seen from Vici. but the Caitlyn Morgana is the focal point of the map for Vici. They want to focus that area. Swift is currently starting at the Wolves. He's going to be pathing down towards the bottom lane at the very least to hover down there and prevent Magic from getting ganks off. So Vici very clearly aware of where they're drafting for and how they're going to play around that. WE on the opposite side, they've also started on the other side of the map. 957's working with Magic. Their composition is, I'd say, a little bit more well-rounded. They've got the Jin for long-range poke, complementary, of course, with any kind of boomerangs that hit, Tahm Kench Tongues that can connect, Sejuani ultimates as well. The follow-up CC is nice. But I think a lot of their damage is so reliant on Xie being ahead, otherwise they won't be able to teamfight.
Speaking of Xie getting ahead, he clears out the wave in mid and immediately he puts a ward onto Swift just to put a bit of vision and pressure into the jungle. And it is funny to see Vici play a bot lane oriented composition when you have Swift, one of the most aggressive junglers in the LPL, heck, in LPL history almost. But they're playing around the AD carry with this composition.
That's certainly the case. Of course, Swift is one of those players that has had to deal with focus around lanes whilst he is still in the jungle position. Yeah. The game never really works around Swift. He is aggressive around the game, and sometimes he'll put the team on his back, but that's just Swift things that will happen here and there. For the most part, he's used to this, and he's going to have to be used to it once more.
Especially with EasyHoon on the team, keeping nice and safe in the lane. Not a huge amount of movement from EasyHoon in terms of leaving the mid lane over his last few games, though recently he's made strides in that direction, communicating better with the team and actually moving around the map ever since his joining the roster.
I think ever since Chinese New Year, we've seen more attempts from EasyHoon, and it's something that you have to respect from him. We mentioned it just after, but everyone went home for Chinese New Year. EasyHoon chose to stay in China, chose to practice every single day and become the best mid laner that he can be for Vici. He's committed himself to the cause, and because of that, we have started to see some increase in performances. That doesn't mean that his team will get better, though, even if he is.
Hopefully Snow will be able to alleviate that in the AD carry position for Vici Gaming. Of course, EasyHoon's opponent going to be trying to prevent EasyHoon from being the best mid laner he can be, because right now Xie is damn near one of the best mid laners in the league. He's been getting MVP after MVP, almost single-handedly winning games for Team WE.
Yeah, he certainly is. I'd call him the MVP as mid laners go. And yes, Rookie's been playing a little bit better, but for WE, that's what Xie needs to get done for them to even look like they have a chance at victory. He's picked the Galio here today against the Vladimir, so a lot of the goal is about sustaining, surviving, hitting level 6, then influencing the rest of the map.
Oh, that's actually the binding landing onto Mystic, but Swift already in the air has to target Celestial. Still, that's one flash burned by Vici's bottom lane.
Interesting choice there as well from Swift. Just gets to the closest target that was in range that he could knock up with the slingshot. So finds Celestial, but Celestial had already flashed away, and there was no real threat of a kill.
And still they continue farming up in that bottom lane. As we've got ourselves some nice safe lanes so far.
Yeah, we do.
Rise, nice. And farming up on the top half of the map.
I think the first place that you'd have to look at for things to change here, Dom, would be through the jungle position. Swift, when he hits level 5, very good at ganking mid lane from side bushes. Right now, though, the way Xie is playing, this is the second recall that he's had. The first one was a teleport back to lane, has been incredibly safe, incredibly respectful of where the opponents could be at any moment. But it also means that he's just non-existent. He's trying to recall, he's trying to use his health to clear waves and disappear, and EasyHoon is handling him quite well. As a result of this, though, Vici's jungler should be far more unlocked.
We've already seen one gank from Swift so far, with this bottom side fully cleared. Perhaps we could see a gank or potentially even a dive top lane, as 957 is getting close to level 6, and while he did start Dorian's shield, that's still some pretty high base damage on Gnar against only a Sapphire Crystal Rise.
Of course. To be fair, he is against the Rise, so he needs to have the shield, and he's going to be using the Hyper Proxy as the only real form of trade. But that's the thing. Into a Rise matchup, if you are trying to trade with him in mini form, he'll just burst you out with his combo, get the shield, and walk away. He gets move speed when he's running away as well after the 3-hit combo. So you can't really get the Hyper Prox. You have to wait until a little bit later into the game to even be able to successfully trade with a Rise, or you have to be in Mega Form. And trying to do that in Mega Form is just as hard, because he'll press Rune Prison once and just casually walk away instead of having to sprint away with a 3-hit passive.
You stand there angrily. My favorite is the recall attempt. Right, EasyHoon Emo Plagues for the wave and
he wants to recall.
But Xie is actually back here with full health with level 6 of his own. Easyhoon, Unsealed Spellbook. If he recalls now, he could try to swap it over towards a teleport and perhaps preempt the roaming Galio. But take a look at the vision that WE have already set up on this bottom half of the map. Another ward at Raptors as Xie tries to fight Swift over the Raptor camp.
I like this from Xie, of course, acknowledging that there's no Vladimir ultimate. He's gone back to base very clearly. Will have the teleport, will have the Unsealed Spellbook, but that's enough time to place a ward, go to the Raptors, steal some away, pressure the jungler of Vici, and more importantly, get vision of where he is and find out how they can think about the next step from the Zac, where he's going to be coming forwards, and if they can counteract that. Magic is very good into Swift when you look at the champion matchup.
Could be in the mid lane, actually, as Xie, with low mana, has to flash away. Swift, with the Elastic Punch, pulls him back in.
Very good damage once again. Xie is not having a very good experience in the middle lane currently in this first game. He's being handled by Easyhoon. The CS difference shows.
Oh, that's actually the sweep. Hexdrinker is finished for 957, so he's got some damage, but misses the next drill.
The only time that you can afford to take those trades from 957 is when you hit level 6 and can use the ultimate. Pull him back so you are able to freely hit him. Well done. And he's got himself a Hexdrinker, so laning phase isn't easy from Lung anymore. In saying that, it's never going to be a kill. But it is control, and that's what matters the most. It's a teleport advantage as well, and that's a significant deal for any kind of threats or engages in the bottom lane. It feels like Vici, it's too risky to make those plays now.
We've already talked a little bit about the volatility of that bottom lane if Caitlyn is able to get ahead, but take a look at which dragon is the first one as well, Infernal. So even more incentive to control that bottom half of the map for Vici. WE seem to be well prepared for it, though. Safe recall out of Celestial, though Mystic will make it to the lane first with BF Sword and some Swifties.
We didn't really mention it, but Mystic has gone towards the Boots Rush build.
Yeah.
So he starts with the Boots, he's gone Boots of Swiftness, he's gone towards the BF Sword afterwards. Being able to keep up with move speed, distance yourself, dodge bindings as well as traps, and perhaps out-trade the Caitlyn. One of the best ways to win trades is to avoid the net, the on-the-way headshot. She tries to back away.
That 90 caliber net. I wonder if there are higher caliber nets to catch bigger targets. Because it's a Yordle Snap Trap, which is a cupcake.
Can't say I've looked into the caliber of nets. It's not something that I've actively tried to research.
The thickness of the net.
Now you mention it, I have no idea.
I would just imagine if there's more ways to expand that strength, as Swift is actually on the top half of the map in Tribush. Magic is there along with Xie. I'm not sure if this is a counter gank or a gank attempt itself. Swift is now spotted. Magic immediately just pulls him back.
It was an attempt itself. You can tell immediately from the reaction of Magic. Finding himself a jungler backs away as fast as he possibly can. They were looking to dive the Rise. They felt like they had the chance. 957 was close to make it. Xie's got the ultimate and Magic does as well. As long as they get under the turret, Rise at the very minimum has to try and flash himself to safety and doesn't even have the teleport to get back to lane. So if they could chunk him out, that would be very good from Team WE as a team play perspective.
WE's actually making their way into the mid lane now. Easyhoon. He's still got Flash. Going to be slowed. Hemoplague and a Snare, but that's still 3, nearly 4 members of WE in the mid lane. Though they will head back down towards the bottom. WE are looking, but they're not finding.
Yeah, they get an ultimate out of Easyhoon, but that doesn't really mean anything. He's controlling the lane without that. Xie's just having a bad experience. Nice binding. Okay, man. Meanwhile, the bottom lane, with the Tahm Kench leaving lane, using the ultimate and roaming, find themselves able to push it under the turret. The Caitlyn then sets herself up to do as she would please, whether it's push again on another wave, cue it as it comes in, or play defensively and try and look for bindings and kills. They are set to succeed.
So far it's defensive on this side of the map, though Magic is making his way down towards this bottom lane. Swift is already at red buff. Should there be any excitement, I'm not entirely sure what that was from Snow.
They're pushing for a lane gank, it feels like, but there's wards in the lane. And actually, they've been able to navigate around the wards, hugging the wall. Expertly done from Team WE, but he's been spotted now very clearly.
Magic steps up to clear the control ward. Not sure if they've spotted Swift or not. No pings onto him. You can see Xie is getting pushed in by Easyhoon.
They didn't spot Swift, but they know something's up. They're going to meet each other now, of course. Fighting at a Scuttle Crab, Swift has a level advantage, so the Scuttle is his. Means that Magic has to back away. There's also Blues about to spawn for Team WE, and this moment of weakness, again, an extra wave perhaps that Vici could clear, an extra bit of momentum to build up for themselves. But like we mentioned, through the draft phase, it's not a Rise in the middle lane. Easyhoon's not just going to clear the wave and disappear and come bottom as easy as a Rise would be able to on this Vladimir. So the game still plays out slowly. They're playing it one wave at a time, waiting for some big item spikes.
They certainly are. Will they have enough time, though, against Team WE? As Vici, they're a team, when they win, they win through momentum. They're able to set the tempo and the pace of the game, keep the enemy team marching to the beat that Vici sets.
Yes, Vici win through controlling the tempo of the game. Unfortunately, in a set between Vici and Team WE, if you've watched the LPL at all in the past, I don't know, forever, since these teams have existed, we're going to 50 minutes.
Very slow beat.
We're going to have 3 games,
Yep.
and it's going to be one of the lowest action per minutes type of games that you'll see. But right now, they are still fighting.
You had to say something about action, Rusty, as Magic dives, Hero's entrance for the assist damage reduction. It was more the moral support Xie provided.
I mean, currently 957 is just winning the top lane. He doesn't necessarily need the rest of the members to be there as he wins by himself. WE choose to come up here to snowball it further, get the first turret in the game, and unlock a place on the Rift. Xie's not having a good time, but he's still a Galio. He's still going to be useful when he uses the ultimate as he did there. Even if they don't kill the Ryze, he was there to make sure that Ryze was dead regardless. And I like this from Team WE, and specifically from 957. Something that we don't often get to see from him is performing this well.
Yeah, silently winning the top lane before his team collapses, whereas, ooh, Caveman sidesteps that one, still holding on to the Black Shield. Just because that spell shield is so important in most of these matchups as they continue to trade back and forth. Looks like some action is sort of spicing up down here. Mystic might be fancying himself a recall.
Yeah, he constantly is playing forwards like someone is here. No one is. But Vici are respecting that fact. They haven't seen Sejuani in quite some time. She's been clearing over the top side of the map. Just avoided being spotted there, I believe, as well. For the most part, I think the reason that they're playing so forward and so aggressive is that 957 has teleport. He was free from top lane now as the turret is gone as well. They're able to play and at least feign the fact that he might be here. Vici have to respect that with how big 957 is.
Now we're seeing him back in the top lane. No completed item just yet, though he is building larger and larger towards what looks to be a Sterix, as WE seem to be claiming control over the river. They know they've got that teleport Gnar in the top lane.
They've actually started the Drake off. Binding's going to slow them down. Mystic hasn't rotated at all, so it's just a 2-man. This is very awkward from Team WE. They have no Galio ultimate. This is going to take them quite some time unless they bring Mystic, which they thankfully do.
Yeah, you just saw Snow. He's only now making his way out of base, but
they're
still
not contesting.
4 members and a smite. No chance of a steal. First Infernal, WE.
It was slow. It was very tentative from Team WE until they did bring everybody towards the Drake, and then they say go, and then they take the objective down. Good moves. Still, as we mentioned, teleport advantage. Not that Lung doesn't have one, but the 957 would be a bigger deal if he was teleporting in. So lots of respect from Vici. Losing as little as they can, not fighting for objectives, not trading for objectives. And that's usually what extends these games.
And with that, Vici are now going to what it seems to be is do WE's strategy and lose gracefully. Give up as little as possible with as little fight as possible as Caveman. Oh, misses that binding. Swift leaps in. Mystic gets hit by the elastic slingshot, knocks Celestial into himself as he continues to go forward. No bounce, pulls anyone back. Hero's entrance, Magic in the front. Mystic going to get the knock-up and a kill, but Magic is low. Hemoplague back. Xie with the snare onto 2. But firing across, it's Mystic looking for the kill onto Snow, but he dies to the winds of war, and how the winds have changed as Long has joined the fight, but already he's going to get a revenge kill against 957. Mystic chases onto Swift, about to pop the passive. Does he have enough, though, because he will need to reload. Long tries to get onto Celestial for more trading. Mystic kills Swift on the back, and that's WE finding 3 kills.
It was surprisingly close to a good trade from Vici, but WE do win the trade pretty comprehensively there. They're able to continue forwards. They've got the objective. There's nothing further to get for themselves, just besides the minion wave clear and a little bit of extra advantage. And then a shot for some money to be spent with all of the income they received as a result of that fight. It's nice from WE, especially because Vici just got their item spikes. They were actually looking towards a fight around here. They engaged the fight. They go forwards, and this is unfortunate. Caveman says go. He sees the chance. Swift is like, go home, and realizes that maybe that wasn't the right direction, and then they just don't have their Morgana. This is super tragic because that could have actually been a 1 fight from Vici Gaming if things went a little bit better, if the execution was a little bit better. The teleport from Lung was super far away as well. He has to use both summoner spells just to secure a single kill. And there's no teleport to keep Swift alive, and they just leave him to die, fortunately.
And as a result of that, we're starting to see a gold advantage for Team WE as they were able to turn the split Vici and keep most of their members alive. Celestial with the clutch save onto Magic, his fellow rookie on Team WE, keeping him alive and preventing another kill from going over to Vici with that last-second devour. On top of your screen right now, you can actually see fan votes for who is going to take this matchup, updating live and on the fly, and a lot of folks are favoring Team WE.
I, for one, am shocked at the outcome of this vote. Speaking of WE.
Oh, Easy Hoon is going to be slowed. Tides of Blood heals him back up, but he's pulled in. Rift Herald wants to get a piece of the action. 957 pulled forward, dies as WE bite off way too much more than they can chew. That's 2 kills for Vici.
They take on Lung, Easy Hoon, and Swift, and they are losing, and Magic is in a very poor position here.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time before he ends up going down. Lung with another kill, and suddenly that rise after a rough laning phase is 3-1-1.
They should not be fighting around that 3-man unit. Yes, 957 is decently large at the moment, but that doesn't mean that Lung isn't. He actually received kills in the last fight. Magic can't really contribute anything more than Swift can either, so the jungle is pretty equalized there. And at the same time, Easy Hoon has been large. He has been controlling and handling the middle lane, and he has big item spikes. You want to use Mystic, you want to use Celestial. The fact that they can roam faster, bring them 2 fights. Vici find an opportunity, they get a sniff, they win the fight, and now they get to control the map a little bit better.
Yeah, perhaps this could be Vici trying to claim the tempo back from WE. Not a few seconds ago, I said it was a 2,000 gold difference. Well, now it's just about even. And Vici, they take themselves their first turret and are now in the gold lead in Game 1.
Tragic from Team WE to start so well, to get themselves the lead in a situation where they weren't all winning lane, and then they just throw it away so quickly.
Trying to collapse on a Vladimir. Always a difficult challenge.
Speaking of Vladimir, he's rushed a Void Staff second.
He really has.
He wants to maximize his damage output as he continues to scale into the game, but usually he'd be like, okay, so there's an Abyssal Mask on the opponent. No, it's not. It's a Rod of Ages this time. But he's got a Void Staff.
Yeah. AP Galio. We do see some magic resist out of Magic 957.
There is a lot of magic resistance, Tom, I will admit. It's that he's trying to optimize his team fight damage as the Vladimir as soon as possible.
Also, we see the Frozen Mallet now completed from Xie in that top lane, as we just saw 3 members of WE on that bottom half of the map for a siege, and look how Vici respond. 4-man group bottom just outside of the vision, just in case WE were going to overextend again.
And they bring Lung down to that objective. He doesn't have the teleport, neither does 957, but he's already walked here. He's fully prepared, and WE were not able to take that fight, or they would have lost it. Just because they don't know where the Rise is, you have to assume he's nearby if he's not top lane. Shu's going to be on the other foot in just a second, however. Nara's been able to clear the wave top and potentially leave if he would like. Push it in as far as he can. It may result in a blue buff contest here from WE on the top blue side quadrant.
It's just about to spawn. We see Magic just now making his way out of base as Easy Hoon already clearing out that mid wave. But Swift is on the other side of the map. Perhaps we could see Vici try to play that timing against WE as they are now pinging. Swift engages, manages to find Mystic, pulls him back in. No Devour just yet. The cleanse is too late. Celestial with the big shield. Can he save his carry? He's stunned. Stepped on a trap. Ignite. Burns him down inside. 2 kills, Vici.
He cannot save his carry because Swift targets the Tahm Kench first. There was no Cleanse Devour available, and suddenly they get themselves the pick here under WE once again. They don't go towards top lane. There's no reason to be there, and you have to expect that the Zac is bottom lane. They don't have the vision control to step up and hit that turret, yet they are. They're still stepping forwards. They're threatening poke. It doesn't work like that.
Protobelt as Easy Hoon actually turns back in. He knows the jungler is here and casually sidesteps it with a flash. Still, no Tides of Blood. Now he has no flash. Easy Hoon. You can't just disrespect them like that.
I don't know if he disrespected or just like tried to outplay and then I don't know which order it happened, but he definitely still found himself dead.
Look at the pings from WE. They are all pinging onto the Baron. Mystic and Celestial are back up.
Flashes away from a Sejuani ultimate, still chooses to turn around and try and fight. Not too sure on that one, and it does open up the Baron, like you mentioned, as a potential place to look, but they're not after the actual Baron.
Perhaps
That'd
trying
take
to
way too long, though.
Yeah, bait Vici in. You're exactly right, especially with the Jhin on the team. And AP Galio not exactly well renowned for his neutral objective take.
Yeah, in fact, if I was Vici, I would laugh at the fact that they were even hiding themselves near the Baron area and say, I will see you in 40 seconds when you're missing half of your health.
It seems to be that's exactly what they did. They grouped up mid lane. You saw Lung step forward to take the Scuttle Crab away from 957. We're actually seeing Vici make the correct decisions against WE and use their plays against them as WE try to reclaim momentum of this game by taking the Ocean Dragon, but it's still Vici setting the pace. They're up now by 2,500 gold.
Getting the dragon is nice. It's their second dragon they secure for themselves in the game, but it doesn't give them control of the Baron area. In fact, they have to sacrifice that control for a little bit of time here. You look at Celestial, he's waiting for Magic to come back from spawn after he took the Drake. So for 30-odd seconds, you can get your vision down if you're Vici. You could actually even get a recall in if you need to, and then try and re-establish vision to have absolute control, depending on how they want to play this one out. At the same time, Swift isn't stepping up. He doesn't need to step up and place vision, and he's already got wards because the control's already there.
Already Vici making sure that they've got early control of that objective as Caveman steps just a little bit too far forward. You didn't see the health bar move, but once the black shield fades away, there you can see that fourth bullet damage.
One of the most deceptive things in the game is the Morgana black shield. I feel like it should be on the left of the health bar.
Shields in general.
You know, like a separate health bar.
Like an overlapping over the top.
I understand that a shield like Snow's right there from the overheal is next to the health because it is health.
Yeah.
But a magic shield is not health. And so you sometimes can't tell when to use spells, or you can't tell if you're going to kill someone because it looks like they have a lot of health.
How many strongly worded emails have you sent to the UI team about this?
This month?
Sure, we'll go with that. Swift goes in. He's found Mystic. Devour pulls him back out as Let's Bounce gets Swift to safety.
He was dreaming. There was no chance Swift was hitting that one. His Zach's been cloudy.
Ooh, that one Easy Hoon dodges. Even Xie comes in with the hero's entrance. That's 2 ultimates.
It does feel like Xie was just trying to close some distance and get himself into the fray, whether the ultimate was going to connect or not. It is an AP Galio this time around. You can see it's a large rod for Xie. He wants to maximize his damage output, and that does speak towards, again, the composition. They've got a Jhin. They need Xie to carry and do damage. We said this from Champion Select, but he was also being handled by Easy Hoon quite well in the lane. He was not unlocked to leave, besides the one time he went top lane. The rest of it has been rather lackluster.
We're still 2-1-3 on that Galio, and now that we're seeing a 1-3-1 split from both teams, perhaps there's more opportunity for Xie to get some gold funneled into him as Mystic just keeps on punishing Swift for looking for ganks. Already WE are stuck under their tier 1, trying to hold on and defend.
You know, I wouldn't discredit, to build on a little bit further, I wouldn't discredit Xie for his performance. I think it's the fact that they drafted a Galio with a Jhin as a bigger problem overall. Ultimately, they could have had something else that hard carries in the mid lane. I'm personally still saying Orianna because that was in my mind from the draft already.
Yeah.
I also think they could have picked the Rise fourth opposed to the Gnar.
I think you've got the nameplates mixed up. This isn't Rookie here. It's Xie. Maybe Twisted Fate.
For the first start. You know what? Sure.
The old Twisted Fate main.
Look, if his goal is to roam around the map, Twisted Fate does the same thing as Galio.
And again, this was red side last pick for WE, so I'd love to have more of a discussion about this and try to get a bit more insight into why they've gone towards it. Perhaps looking for some more global map play from WE that we just haven't seen yet. We already saw how quickly he jumped to the mid lane once Easy Hoon was almost caught.
It gives them a combo. Is the easy answer, Dom, as well. Having a Gnar, Mega Gnar with a Galio going forwards, late game team fighting, a way to kill the backline on a Caitlyn. So a lot of magic damage as well, something that gets rid of the Morgana shield with a single Winds of War. There's always going to be a possibility. And the taunt does a lot of damage, even if it's not going to taunt him. And that also gets rid of the black shield. So just having that, range ways to remove it, something else that could help it a lot for their team fighting to allow the Gnar to get combos, because it is a combo.
Now we just saw the blue contest. It was taken. Swift headbutts Magic in the air and gets knocked back down. 5 members from both teams grouping up to make sure there isn't any unsolicited action.
Still a lot of dancing around the Baron and jumping over minions in mid lane, but mid lane control is a place that you have to look towards. There was no Herald used in this game. There was no mid lane outer turret broken in this game as a result of that as well. Both mid laners were just clearing waves and trying to assist their junglers, or just clearing waves and controlling the enemy mid laner. no one really found an opportunity to siege there. Caitlyn is the one that you'd be looking towards and saying that they have a good siege if they want to play around the Caitlyn. Rapid fire cannon is usually a time in the game when they can start to do that and push forwards more and more.
Of course, 3-item Caitlyn well on the way if Snow continues to get funneled gold in the mid lane. Oh, Binding stops the recall. Swift thinks of leaping in, but decides not to. And we talked about 3 items on Caitlyn. How about 3 items on Jhin? Almost Infinity Edge.
It's going to be a lot of damage.
Yeah.
And commits to the crit build as well on the Jhin. So once he gets towards the late game team fighting, still incredibly relevant. You know, often you see a utility-based Jhin build. If he goes Ghostblade, strong in laning phase, something like that. But this time around, the Essence Reaver, very strong build for himself. Infinity Edge here. And we aren't on 8.6. I do need to clarify that. So it's very unlikely we see ourselves a Guinzu's Rageblade Jhin.
Very unlikely indeed. As Infinity Edge now just picked up, recall completed, and rapid fire cannon. So 3 items on both AD carries, barely 20 CS between them, so still very close in gold. And that gold difference between the two has not budged. Still 2,000 lead for Vici. What, 5 minutes later? 7?
It's a big item spike, like you mentioned, to bring it back to that. But there is something that it is missing before it becomes relevant. And that, to me, is just an executioner's call.
For Mystic?
Yes.
Okay.
For Mystic. Once he gets that, Vladimir's not going to be able to heal as much. You don't have to rely on any ignites, which they don't have, because he has switched to Exhaust, as they are looking more and more towards protecting their AD carry in these forthcoming team fights. I think the executioner's calling is the point in the game where WE say, we can fight. We absolutely can fight.
800 gold left for Mystic in his pocket before he can start trading back against Vici. You can see Xie went for the Rabadon's Death Cap after Proto Belt. He is really big. WE looks like they're looking for a fight right now as the 4 of them are all stepped up. They've got teleport ready for 957, and he's nearly mega. As over the wall, Magic shows up. Black Shield soaks the stun. That's Realm Warp to get Lung in. Teleport is going to take the time to channel. Xie on Easy Hoon in the back, but he's about to heal himself right back up. Exhaust.
Oh, no.
He pulls, and it's a split fight. 957 with the stun. Magic in the back. Mystic tries to kill Lung, but 957 leaps away on the top side. Xie retreats. Lung running for his life. Mystic looking for the final bullet. Slow. And a snare. Finally, it's 1 for 1. Mid laner for top.
And Easy Hoon doesn't have the ultimate, has got the flash. There's still 4 people alive from Vici. Snow is the member that you have to respect right now. And we just watched AD carries go towards top laners, try and kill them. We saw Xie die, we saw Lung die, but now Mystic and Snow have to fight each other in the middle lane, and it's a stalemate where Vici should still win, just because they have more bodies in front.
Yeah, they get the proper positioning and finally break down the mid-tier 1. Now they're heading towards the Baron. There's no vision from Team WE,
that
and
is
they're
risky.
forced to check it. That's Blue Trinket.
The Blue Trinket is a win. I think you call it a day after getting a Blue Trinket. There's no real world scenario where you should be looking at it. Magic is full health. Swift is very low. He would probably die to the Baron buff if they tried to do that one. There is no able tank then in front. Backing away does give a lot of time to WE, however, to reset that vision and control the Baron area. We do get ourselves a full reset.
We absolutely do. And as a result of that, we do see the teleport advantage for Lung. He Realm Warped into the fight, and he's about to get that Realm Warp back up. And it all starts with WE looking for something.
The reason that I giggled here is Magic jumps over the wall, but he doesn't jump the full distance. He stops and then tries to throw the ultimate, but it was spell shielded anyway. I thought that was super cute, but there was a control in the bush to spot him. Ultimately, now he's out of position, has to flash away. Xie comes forwards as 957 comes in. That actually looks like a good combo, right? But Snow's freely hitting the entire time because they try and remove Caveman from the mix. Caveman's able to survive. Snow's able to kill people with the amount of damage that he's currently putting out and having a red buff there as well. There's no escape once he's chasing you down. And he's doing a lot of damage.
There's the crit, Caitlyn. Mystic going to have to heal himself right back up. Fleet Footwork should be giving him some, but already Vici are going to press the advantage with that as Snow stepping up.
There's a single Ocean Drake for Team WE, so he's going to get some health back. The thing that you actually look towards with Fleet Footwork Jhin is a crit. The health return that he gets means that you don't need to actually build lifesteal as Jhin, and that does wonders for him. Because Rapid Fire Cannon increasing his range and having a crit there as a 4th bullet, you get health back, you run away at lightning speeds.
Now we're not going to see WE pick up this next Ocean Dragon as Lung secures it along with the Scuttle Crab, still holding on to that teleport. 957s is already halfway up, but right now he's grouped with the team and he's nearly mega. Vici are going to fall back and give up some vision, but Swift looks for the engage. Who's his target? That's Hemo Plague on to 2. He pulls them back in. 957 going to be pulled away, but he's got Celestial. He's got Magic in the back line. It's AD versus AD. Mystic flashes back. Snare going to trade, and Mystic is still fighting it out. Vici overcommit for Mystic, and they find themselves falling apart. Another kill as they turn towards Swift and finally drop him.
Absolutely smashes them. WE get a team fight with 3 dead from Vici straight over the Baron buff, and I don't think there's a contest available. They're going to try from the looks of it. Maybe some pot shots with bindings. Lung has to be a hero to make anything happen here at all.
Xie with the Winds of War. He's going to drop Shield of Duran to help some damage soak as 957 steps up to zone away, but Baron secured and Lung has to back away.
And good respect from Team WE, specifically bringing in 957. They didn't have a smite.
Ooh, Realm Warp to further zone. They're going to try and chase this down, or not.
That's done now. There's no chance. There they go. Way too risky if you go in by yourself as a Ryze. You don't know what you're going to find. But here's the fight. Mystic versus Snow. That's what the matchup becomes here. They go forwards. EasyHoon's trying to get into the backline, but Celestial saves Mystic's life. And then a Zac kidnaps them. And he thought, you know what, this is pretty good. Realized maybe it's not pretty good because the crits are very significant for Mystic as he's able to kite backwards. And WE just try and save the VIP the entire time. Jumping forwards, making sure Mystic survives. From a situation where it looks like, a picturesque start to the fight, Zac bringing forwards a Jhin. Boy, did that backfire.
957 just turned into Liam Neeson. He has a very particular set of skills, and he will find Mystic at whatever the cost, able to stun and keep Mystic alive. Now he's pushing bottom. His teleport is nearly back up, and WE are finally breaking down more turrets, reclaiming the map and finally reclaiming the gold lead after 12 minutes for Vici.
And that's the most important part here, is reclaiming the gold lead via having the Baron buff. They're going to be able to go to most of the inner turrets around the map and start to snowball back in their favor. There is still a very strong team composition from Vici, especially as we start to scale up in this game. And that's something that WE will still have to respect. Team fights that are going to come sooner rather than later will still be dangerous for WE to contend with. And right now, even not going towards the Executioner's calling Mystic, goes for more of Malmortius. It was all about surviving, not killing, weirdly enough.
Perhaps relying on the burst of his team and the crowd control of his teammates to lock down targets. It's a very communication-oriented style from Team WE, but not something they've shied away from in the past. Previously, we called them the team that was more than the sum of their parts. Could they be trying to reclaim that form that sent them to Worlds with this style of play? Or will Vici be able to stop them, as now they're trying to defend against this Baron push from WE?
It's team-centric play from WE so far. There's been no single carry. Xie, the MVP of this team, is no longer just sitting there and being a hero as they require. They have got some nice work from Mystic at the moment. Celestial is trying very hard to ensure that Mystic survives. And Xie is actually working with 957. 957's been team fighting quite well at the moment. I feel like Swift is on a different page to the rest of his team when it does come to these team fights as well here and there. But he's also the only real form of engage. Something that we mentioned even through the draft phase was perhaps a different champion in the top lane could have aided them further when it comes to engaging. Now it's just Zac, or it's a Morgana binding, and that's the only other thing left.
And that's where we see the Mobies coming into play for Mystic, able to sidestep Celestial with his own Merc Treads to try to prevent those bindings from lasting as long as they do.
It's also the Tahm Kench.
Yeah.
Just negates Morgana by existing.
You just pick people up, yeah.
Tahm Kench is just a good pick here. Solid option for Team WE.
And this is again where we look to the draft of Vici, but now the bottom tier 2 has been prepped. Look at the clear coming out of Caitlyn.
Oh my god, that's not okay.
Snow tries to back away. He eats a big hit from the Winds of War.
That was just a Galio Q. It wasn't even the whole thing.
And now the wave crashes in. Baron has finally fallen off, but there's only a single tier 2 left standing for Vici, and while WE weren't able to break open the game, they've certainly got the momentum now.
And you can tell from the amount of damage that Xie is now able to apply, the WE are in a very good position. They're so reliant on him having burst and having damage. He's built the Deathcap Void Staff as his itemization choice.
And look at what Snow immediately got, Null Magic Mantle.
Yep, and you know where that's going.
Gets hit into one. Oh, Adaptive Helm, right.
Yeah.
QSS. In order to retreat and outplay.
Well, knowing Mystic, it may just be another more of Malmortius.
Oh, if Mystic does that, yeah. Oh, we could see another one, yeah.
We'll see. No, it should be a
build.
QSS. The Galio Flash Taunt could be a big reason.
Now this is interesting. Mystic actually picks up the last Whisper before the Executioner's calling here.
Such is life.
Don't hold back, Rusty. Tell me how you really feel.
Well, I already told you how I really feel, and I feel like I'll be beating a dead horse.
You told me what you wanted. Tell me what you feel.
I feel like he wants to deal damage, but he doesn't want them to die.
Ah, okay.
Thankfully, Xie exists to kill them, so that's okay.
Yes. That being said, Xie 4-2-4, still putting in massive damage for his team as he's now got himself a stopwatch.
For what it's worth,
yep.
There is no Zhonya's Hourglass for Easy Hoon. He's committed towards a Banshee's Veil, and so it's actually quite easy to CC him down and kill him. You may not get the ultimate off, so he may not heal back to full health in every single team fight if you can burst him out early.
Now Elder Dragon is up, and WE, famously dubbed the Elder Dragon team, are on this side of the map. 36.5 minutes in. This is a legacy style for the team, something that gave them a lot of power throughout the 2017 year. Though Swift, he's going to start the engage and force the issue. Mystic is in the back. He's going to be saved by Celestial, who flashes away. Magic in the front as he tries to hit Easy Hoon, who ducks under. Now that's going to be the curtain call. Easy Hoon able to heal himself up with the stun against the wall. 957 forces the issue. Lung on the side, preventing Xie from going in, and amazingly, no one has died.
It's incredible that nobody has died. Magic's super low, and everyone from Vici has been chunked out besides Snow. And he is still the MVP of this composition, the man to be protected. And he is still able to step forwards and deal damage. WE still feeling confident, however. They'll at least look at doing the Elder Dragon. Mystic's still hitting it.
957 with his Guardian Angel is going to try to tank here as Xie still looking for a flank. He's still got that hero's entrance for a huge displacement should a fight break out.
That reset made it very awkward. They still want the fight.
Swift is in the back. Xie goes for Lung, but the stopwatch keeps him topped up. Again, Mystic has been stalled, but he's abducted again. Do they have enough to kill him this time? Celestial walks it forward. They drop Swift into the bubbles. Do they have enough as Snow has killed one support? Mystic kiting it out, binding on a 957. He steps on a trap, but Xie keeps him up. Xie goes in. Realm Warp into the back, but it's Chaos as it's damage for damage, and it's WE who are coming up with more. Still, it's 2 versus 3. Lung hugs the wall, but he's got nowhere to go. And Ace in the Hole gets a kill. Lung is not able to get the second.
Oh, so awkward. Lung chose to not move and stand and deliver. A lot of reliance on Snow. The fight ends, and oh my god, does it end as a close result. It's a 4-for-3 trade, but 957's health bar may as well not exist. They got through his Guardian Angel, but because there is one extra member alive from Team WE, that's just enough to get themselves the Elder Dragon. But Snow is here. He needs to pull off something crazy. He can't step up and fight. You would not expect.
He's placing
he wants to steal it with a Q.
to prevent anyone from getting over the wall. Mystic, he's got a 4th bullet ready. That's going to be it. The auto attack. Ooh, it's close. But WE have locked it down. Elder Dragon
gets the auto attack off though, Snow. That was something that I did not expect in that little trade. I thought he was just going to try and pilt over Peacemaker.
Rapid fire cannon, my dude.
Vici are going straight over to the Baron buff during this replay, so keep that in mind when we come back. It could be spicy. Fight happens with Swift bringing them forwards, but once again, inside Celestial's belly, so Mystic is brought forwards. But from here, Snow is also the MVP dealing damage. Steps on a trap, 957 will lose his Guardian Angel. Easy Hoon's trying his best, and we're back because it's Baron time.
Yeah, Baron has been started by Vici, a desperation play. Celestial, slow it over the wall. The Peacemaker is fired, and Baron picked up by Vici. Now, can they escape with their lives? And the Elder Dragon, as a bullet picks off Caveman.
Bends the bullet. Tom Kench going forwards here.
Easy Hoon is the target. Magic brought along with him. Remember, he doesn't have the Zhonya. He's caught by the snare. Able to heal himself up quite a bit. Still no grievous wounds. Look at his health bar up and down, and there's the crowd control. That's 2 members of Vici dead.
He's dead, but the Baron was there for Vici. Maybe enough to save the game, however, with those 2 dead for 50 seconds on Easy Hoon, they are going to push forwards at the bare minimum. It will be an inhibitor, and they may want more.
They continue to chase forwards. WE trying to roll this tide of minions.
I think the problem is that there is wave clear from the side of Vici, so they need to force them away from the wave and to threaten the engage. Right now, they're just trying to end the game to force them to hit them instead.
They are. Snow is trying to get through to the minions. Winds of War zones him away, but the minion wave has been all but cleared out. Engage on the Magic is denied as Swift goes in. He doesn't have the bubbles to pop into. He dies to 957. Cell Division not going to save him. Still, the fan vote is the same. as the Nexus is laid bare. The stun sweeps Snow back in. WE try to end. They've killed the AD carry. Mystic is stunned in the back, but it doesn't matter because he's got the damage. WE as 5 turn on to the Nexus, and they're set to take game 1 over Vici Gaming.
We do go to 40 minutes. We do have an extended game, and you would not have it any other way when WE plays against Vici. But in the end, the team that is on top of the standings against their opponents in Vici on the day still go 1-0 up. They still team fight just that little bit better. And you're seeing moments from Vici. Snow in particular, I think, is the man that you have to look towards. But today we actually get to celebrate Xie and Mystic, even if it's one game themselves. They have the most wins in the LPL.
The longest standing duo in the LPL at 175 wins. Just now, surpassing Clearlove and Mako. Big congratulations to those two with their victory here, even if it was a bit hard fought.
It was certainly hard fought. It was a slow start. 957 was a big part of why they were able to control the early game very well, though, and negate any advantages that Vici had. They had some team fights that looked pretty good. I still think that 957 was even team fighting like a machine, and it's good to see the reinvigoration of the top laner of Team WE. But then Mystic hits the team fights as well. He's able to go forwards and in very awkward front-to-back fights.
Yeah.
Where AD carries is standing next to AD carries. Mystic is the one that's able to outplay, and WE are the one that are able to get to Mystic and save their AD carry in super weird situations.
Yeah, suddenly it's not the rapid-fire cannon that becomes the most useful item. It's something that works with proximity. The closer to the enemy AD carry, the better. But still, it was a bit of a messy game from Team WE. They finally found momentum in their late-game team-fighting style that they fell back to in 2017. But it seemed as though they were playing it a bit slow against Vici over the course of that early game because they were trying to be respectful, it seemed like.
It could be respect. It could be the fact that you know Vici will make a mistake sooner or later. Perhaps you play around that fact and you're able to capitalize on that one moment and get yourself the win.
Yeah, and that's what did it for Team WE. That said, now it's time for our analysts to break down what happened in that game 1.
Was it really Vici that made the mistake there, FLICKR? I feel like Team WE made a mistake which somehow led them to get back into that match. Before we break down how that game went, let's first take a look at the pick and ban phase between these two teams, because you were pretty much sideways during the entire pick ban phase. You were absolutely tilted out of your mind.
Okay, so Jin's an interesting pick. He's not my favorite AD carry. He's not a super high priority. And what's also really weird is that Mystic is not known as a Jin player. In fact, Mystic usually has a very small, what we call effective champion pool. He's got a couple of key champions that he really reaches for, and Jin is definitely not one of them. To see Jin come out 3rd pick is also what really kind of makes me tilt sideways. So I see the Jin and I'm like, you know, you could have grabbed a much more valuable mid lane pick, because immediately coming out of that, we had 6 mid lane bans come across the stage. And then if you include Vladimir and Ryze also being picked up, that means that's 8 denial picks before Xie has to like reach bottom of the barrel and come back up with his Galio. And then when he comes back up with the Galio, like, oh, that actually makes sense. You know, look at all those magic users. That's an adaptive helm waiting to happen. And then he goes full AP and you're like, well, I guess he has to, because Jin just got picked into a bunch of tanks and he needs to do damage.
And you said that the one thing that they needed to do in order to make this comp work somehow, if they were going to make it work, is 957 needed to get ahead. And that's something that Team WE did play around. They made sure that they were able to facilitate 957 and got the gank top lane.
The actual statement, as I was watching this, I was like, the only way Team WE win this is if they get ahead of the clock so that Jin has kill pressure on everyone, or they are just a better team than Vici, which they are a better team than Vici. The standings pretty much show that. The game absolutely showed that. But oh my god, was this just a clown car?
600 IQ play coming out from Celestial here. Somehow delivered Jin into the backlines and won the team fight through it.
Listen, Caitlyn can't outrange you, Fish, if you're standing on her face. It was just a whole big bait. The fact that Mystic survives this, my favorite part of this entire fight is when EasyHoon turns around, he's like, oh god, and he flashes after Jin after he's already committed all of his spells to the team fight. But the fact that Team WE win that fight when Celestial hand delivers the AD carry to the backline, like, do not be confused. That was not a strategy. That was not Celestial being like, I've got it, boys. This is what we do.
Because Swift was getting good engage after good engage. That was one of them. He was able to deliver time catch to the backlines with a Jin. You think that that's solid. You get the AD carry once the time catch Devour runs out. You can kill him and then go front to back, because that's a team comp with very little damage.
You've seen the Minions meme where the dude's like the 4 different steps. Yes. And he's like, Zac grabs the AD carry, delivers him to the backline, and we all lose to the AD carry in the backline. It's just like, what? Yeah. What happened there?
Doesn't make sense.
what kills me is that wasn't the only team fight like that. Like Vici, they pretty much ran away with the early game. They got a bunch of different engagements off. It didn't really equate into any sort of objective. You know, when they got team fights, they weren't pushing down towers. It didn't mean dragons, but it meant that win condition that Team WE had to be ahead of the clock so they would have kill pressure was being delayed even further.
Because up until that point, they were 2,000 to 3,000 gold ahead of them at any given time. Vici were up, and from that Baron play, they picked up Baron and they went for a fight around Elder Dragon, which Team WE narrowly won again, and were able to pick up Elder Dragon off the back half of that.
This is just one of the most bizarre fights. Now, pay attention to Snow, because again, he's the primary carry, and he's doing a bunch of damage. The issue is he cannot get past this tank line by 957. 957 did have a good game, until right now he's like, I'm gonna flash. I've decided I'm gonna make the play, and right into a Galio taunt. So Snow finally found the courage, was going to position himself to really hard carry the fight for Vici, and unfortunately just incredibly mistimes it as Xie just snatches him out. And then we have this. And this is a perfect example of what happened this game, and I'm not really quite sure what it was.
Yeah, Team WE were able to pick up the victory off the back half of that Elder Dragon play. And surprise, surprise, it's going to be Mystic that picks up MVP for game number 1.
To be fair, when you are handicapped so hard that your support player grabs you and then forces you into the back line, so you're already literally playing from like the depths of hell and you have to carry yourself out of it, you should probably get man of the match.
It's not like he's jumping into a team full of either squishies or a team that's full of tanks. That was a Ryze, Vladimir, Caitlyn that he's running into when he jumped into the backline.
He was
Celestial.
very fortunate. It must have been a miscommunication, or they also weren't expecting Celestial to grab the Jhin, because you have to think that Swift would be saying, I've got the AD carry, he's coming back, hold your spells, don't dive the backline, get ready to burst this guy. But again, Easyhoon was forced to flash. Long also had to reposition quite hard because they had already really committed to trying to chase up that choke.
But you said before we went into this match, if there's one person to look towards for Vici, it's going to be Swift. And we can't discredit that he had a good game on Zac. A couple of fumbled engages during the early game, but most of the time he was able to get his lanes ahead, and he was playing those late game team fights fine.
Yeah, he was controlled. He also did a good job in tandem with Easyhoon, a great job for Easyhoon and Swift to lock down CA and make sure that he wasn't getting a lot of these roams off. I think we saw one dive up into the top lane, but you kept seeing CA try to cheat towards the bottom lane with the Galio and the Sejuani, and it was Swift and Easyhoon that completely locked him down. So again, it seemed like some growing pain scenario with Vici, that their team fighting just wasn't as cohesive, and Team WE were just able to ride out as the stronger executors.
But do you agree the draft that came out from Vici in that match, because they flexed the Ryze, sent it to the top lane, got Vladimir, and even went for the Caitlyn Morgana pick, which we're seeing a lot more popular internationally and starting to appear in the LPL as well.
I mean, this is a perfect example that draft doesn't win you games. At the end of the day, it does come down to execution, because I frankly do believe that Vici had the stronger draft. They executed it decently well in the early game, but again, it's those growing pains, it's lack of synergy, maybe miscommunication. You can definitely see the cracks of that clown car.
And you could see during that match, Vici were able to hold on to the early game leads against Team WE. A fumbled team fight turns it around, and even through the late game team fights, they still had a shot, but it was Team WE that picks up game number 1. We're going to go into a quick break. We're back with game 2 in just a moment.